What's up, Flick Connection? This is Darren, and to kick off Netflix week, I want to tell you all about how Netflix measures the success of their original shows and movies. So, like all tech companies, Netflix uses a mysterious algorithm that nobody really outside of a core group of developers would understand, but we do understand a couple of key elements to it that help Netflix determine whether a series or a movie is a success. So we all know Netflix makes their money based on your subscription. And based on the number of subscribers they currently have, Netflix is pulling in billions of dollars annually. But how do they determine how to spend that money on original content? So for comparison, if you're familiar with the YouTube algorithm at all, you'd know that they really base a lot of their value on watch time, number of views, interaction, things like that. It's all stuff that you can see. Netflix, however, has really no interaction, so there's no comments. You can thumbs up, thumbs down, so they do use that a little bit. And of course, they use watch time, number of views. They do use those things. But what's interesting about Netflix is they use something else that basically means some people, their views are more valuable than others. They actually take everything you as a subscriber watch into consideration. So for an example, let's say you, watching me right now, let's say you watched the entirety of Stranger Things. You watched every episode, and I did the same. Now let's say you only watch maybe 4 or 5 hours of Netflix that month in addition to Stranger Things. While at the same time, I watched 30 or 40 hours of Netflix in that same 30-day period. Netflix actually determines that you did more to indicate that Stranger Things is of value to them. And the way that works is because you mostly watch Stranger Things and not a lot of other content, it's an indication to Netflix that you are a subscriber for that particular series. And you might not be a subscriber if that series were to go away. For me, because I watched so much other content, even though I did watch Stranger Things, and they do take that into consideration and they count it as part of the success, it's not nearly as valuable because their algorithm determines that if they were to remove Stranger Things, I would probably still be watching the 30 or 40 hours I watched that month. So it doesn't mean they would lose me as a subscriber. So essentially, with all the millions of subscribers that they have, some are more valuable to them for metrics than others because they help indicate that this show adds value to Netflix because we would lose X amount of subscribers if we were to cancel it. Now to contrast this, the Netflix original series Marco Polo was canceled after 2 seasons. That doesn't necessarily indicate that nobody was watching it, but it does show that the majority of people watching didn't hinge their Netflix subscription on whether or not they got to watch Marco Polo. And that series for 2 seasons actually cost Netflix $200 million to produce. So it required a lot of viewers and a lot of viewers that may not watch it otherwise. You know, for them, they kind of thought this was going to be like their Game of Thrones, and it was not. Again, it doesn't mean people weren't watching it. It doesn't mean it wasn't good. It doesn't mean people didn't like it, but it does mean it was not gaining them new subscribers, and it was not retaining the subscribers that they have, at least based on the algorithm that they currently use. My earlier example of Stranger Things is a show that has performed very well with this metric, which is why season 2 seemed to have a much bigger budget, which it did. There'll definitely be a season 3. That is a successful show for them. Now, the same goes for movies, but because movies are a shorter watch time, the algorithm works a little bit differently. But again, Netflix can determine with this algorithm whether or not they're retaining subscribers with said content. Whether or not having this Brad Pitt movie retain them subscribers based on who was watching it, not just how many, or whether or not Okja was retaining subscribers. Bright, starring Will Smith, is about to come out. That's a very, very expensive movie for Netflix, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that, what the viewership is on it, and whether or not Netflix can continue to support big budget blockbuster movies sent directly to the platform. I'm very interested to see what happens there. So I'll actually be watching Bright on December 22nd when it drops, and then I'll be doing a live stream here on Saturday to talk about how the movie was, what the implications are, and how that movie might actually change the way we watch movies going forward in the future. So be sure to follow me on Instagram, because I'll be giving regular updates and a schedule for that live stream, as well as the other videos I'll be releasing as part of Netflix Week. But thanks for watching. Likes, subs, always appreciated, but you will see me next time.